my name is Gabe Zollner. Last year, an author by the name of Peter Schwartzer wrote a book, and the book was titled Throw Them All Out. And what the book's about is, it's about our Congress. It's about our senators, and it's about our congressmen. What Mr. Schwartzer did was he had a number of his students do, I think they spent about 2 years gathering data and information, and then he took that information and he compiled the book. So if you haven't had a chance to read it, I strongly recommend you consider picking it up. It's real easy. Title is Throw Them All Out. And he highlights a number of the senators and a number of the congressmen in the book, and he explains how many of them become multi-millionaires. Nancy Pelosi, for example, she bought an apartment building in downtown San Francisco. Her husband purchased one as well. Now, the way real estate works, it's location, location, location. I know you all know that. But what happens is if public transit is within, I believe, 2 to 3 blocks of your property, the value goes up around 150%. So what Pelosi went ahead and did, according to Peter Schwartz's book, is she got on an appropriation committee and then she went ahead and said, you know, we need to revitalize downtown San Francisco. And the best way for us to do that is we can run a transit line, which is what they did. Now, the thing is, the taxpayers paid for the transit line and their property increased 150% in value. Now, another example that he gave is, I believe it was a congressman who had a piece of land. The land was out in pretty much Nowheresville. And what he did was he got on a committee and he suggested that we need to revitalize the area, so we need to run a highway through this particular section of property, which just happened to be his. And he obviously made a tremendous amount of money. Nancy Pelosi also made an awful lot of money investing in banking stock. I think it was Visa. I think she made $6 or $7 million in Visa. And you know how she did that was when they're in a meeting and the feds decide they want to bail out the banks, well, she runs off with her hubby and they buy all kinds of Visa stock. So I think overnight they made millions of dollars. Another gentleman that's of interest is the Speaker of the House, John Boehner. Now, John Boehner was not a millionaire when he went to Congress. He is one now. And I think last year he invested in pharmaceutical stock. And he made, I think, $2.7 to $2.8 million. Another one of interest is John Kerry. And John Kerry's sort of unique because he's married to Heinz Ketchup. And obviously he has hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars from his wife's side. John Kerry decided to have a boat built. So he goes ahead and instead of buying American, he has one commissioned in New Zealand. And when the boat's completed, he decides, now he lives in Massachusetts, that has a fairly significant tax on luxury items, such as his boat, which I think his boat was $5.5 or $6 million. So he goes ahead and he registered, I believe it was in Rhode Island, I'm not certain, but I believe it was in Rhode Island, and that state does not have a tax on boats. So what that really shows us, no matter how much these people have, they never have enough. And what's really, really, really troubling is that the lawmakers are the ones that make the laws. But the laws that they make do not impact them. They only impact us. Now, how insane is that? I mean, think about that for a moment. How insane is it that they can do insider trading and it's perfectly legal for them, but it isn't legal for us? Now, there's something wrong with that. Nancy Pelosi said that when this whole thing surfaced with Peter's book, she said that they're going to put together some legislation to prevent them from having that type of access. Well, that hasn't happened, and it won't happen. No different than term limits. One of the problems we have with our senators and our congressmen is they become sort of long in the tooth. You take a guy like Senator McCain, he doesn't know if he's a Republican or a Democrat. I guess he's probably more of a rhino which means he's a Republican in name only. And the perfect example of that is he went ahead and co-authored with a Democratic Senator, Mark Levine, he co-authored the National Defense Authorization Act, which, by the way, is unconstitutional. I actually got on the phone on KFYI, and I was talking to McCain, and it was really funny because I said, I have two questions to ask you, Senator. The first question is, how is it that a senator in Arizona that's been a senator for 25 years would go ahead and co-author something like that, the National Defense Authorization Act, which allows the president to put anybody that he feels is a threat to the nation in prison without due process, without the Miranda rights, without anything. The person just disappears. Well, he rambled off something, and then I asked him, I said, Senator McCain, how is it that someone in your position wouldn't know that the National Defense Authorization Act was unconstitutional? And he said, you don't know what you're talking about, your facts are all wrong, and then they cut me off. Well, what I did was I sent a copy to the radio station, and I sent a copy to Senator McCain of the judge's orders, which again deemed the National Defense Authorization Act to be totally unconstitutional. The problem we have with our senators and congressmen is they have far, far, far too much power, and they use the power for their benefit. If they did what they were supposed to do, which is honor their oath of office, Obama wouldn't be in office. I mean, we have somebody in office, now he's going for another 4 years, and then he'll probably never leave. That's a different story. But we have someone in the White House that we know nothing about. I mean, the documents are there. Elena Kagan knows. She knows. She's the one that buried his past. This is insane. We have got to take back our country. And we have got to get rid of these long-in-the-tooth senators and congressmen. If we don't do that, America is finished. It's probably finished anyway. Or it soon will be finished. Because we have no leadership. Anyway, no point in contacting your congressmen or contacting your senators because they don't care. If they cared, we wouldn't be where we are right now. Thanks.